Hi, everyone. I'm Summer,
I'm Carrie.
and this is Papacia Podcast.
I'm nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. It'll be fun. Fuck. Oh my God. What the hell just happened? What the hell? What is happening? Make sure you come back. We're going to do this bi-weekly. So make sure you come back to talk to us more about, sex, drugs, and self-improvement. Welcome back, y'all. Priya joins us today. Before we get started, a couple of things I want to explain. First of all, if you hear nature sounds, first thing Carrie mentioned was she could hear peacock when we got on the call. So I am on my porch with anybody who follows my sustainablesummer.life website has seen the porch. So you may hear anything from frogs to the neighbor's goat. So it is what it is. Just pretend you're on the porch with me if it starts bothering you. I don't know. Secondly, it is the ambiance. It's nature, damn it. You're supposed to love nature. Except when I hear foxes or mountain lions screaming at night, then waking me up. I'm like, can you be quieter? God, your neighbors are sleeping.
Absolutely not.
Right? It's rude. But in any event, I am in my pajamas on my porch because the world sucks right now, and but I did keep my bra and my lashes on for you guys, so you're welcome, but that's the most I could do.
I put on cat occasion, so it's fine.
Right? I do like the cat ears. So Priya's here to talk with us about reproductive rights primarily, but I did want to make a note. We are recording this on May 25th. I'm sorry to ruin the magic of the internet for everybody who didn't already know, but these things are pre-recorded. So some of the things may or may not change by the time this airs, because there's been a lot of bullshit. Plus, we're coming off a few weeks of some really terrible, terrible things. Yesterday, the school shooting happened in Texas. I spent most of the day talking to my fourth grader about that. So, we're at the anniversary of the George Floyd murder. Oh my God, so many things. The terrible SCOTUS decision about capital punishment, which we all saw coming, but was still terrible. All the anti-abortion measures that are happening, anti-LGBT plus, all the things. The world is on fucking fire right now. So I am high as fuck, and so that's because I have been having to be medicated since 5 p.m. Because, like I said, I spent most of the day that when I wasn't on my meetings talking to my fourth grader about that and the active shooter drills he has done at school. So, okay, Priya, can you, before we jump into the bills that passed today, can you give a brief overview for us of where things stand? Because they're happening very quickly, especially since the Supreme Court leak showing, that they intend to overturn Roe versus Wade. So can you kind of catch us up for anybody who isn't following that closely?
Yes, and if I get too in the weeds, karate chop me in the neck, in the air and tell me to cut it out. Okay. I'll try to keep it as broad as possible. So in Oklahoma, the legislature operates in a 2-year session. The first year, bills get ran through. Some of them make it, some of them don't, but they're not exactly dead. And so we are in the second year of a 2-year session. And on April 5th, they heard a bill. This doesn't really happen very often when they hear a bill from the previous year. And so the day that Planned Parenthood and our partner organizations held their rally outside the Capitol, they revived Senate Bill 612, which makes it a felony for doctors to perform an abortion. I can't remember how much the fine was off the top of my head, but it was very, very steep. And it did not, if I remember correctly, I want to say that one didn't include an exception for rape or incest either.
I believe that's right.
Okay, so they brought that back from last year. The governor signed it shortly after April 5th. It doesn't have an emergency clause to it, so it does not go in effect until the summer. However, we have 2 more abortion bills that have made it through. Both of them have aiding and abetting clauses in them, and one is a 6-week ban, which is basically an outright ban because most people don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. And so that one passed. It was Senator Julie Daniels who carried Senate Bill 1503, if you want to check out the language for yourself. And it was Representative Wendy Stearman who carried House Bill 4327, which as of this recording was just signed minutes prior to us starting to record. The trans bathroom bill also got signed by the governor. So one thing I just do want to flag here is that all the attacks on trans people and the attacks on reproductive autonomy, health, and justice are from the same source. And when I say the same source, I mean whiteness, patriarchy, and capitalism. That's where we're at.
Absolutely.
And the only way out of this is to abandon whiteness because we are going at a rapid fucking pace.
Oh, is there any hope of that happening though? That's my concern. I am out of.
As long as people are obsessed with having power over other people, we will continue to be in this shithole. You can either have power over other people or power over yourself. Which one is it? You can't have both.
And unfortunately, I think they'll stick with power over other people.
I mean, my tutor, my astrology tutor, Dana Lynn Knuckles with People's Oracle. Sorry, I dropped something. She talks often about like how all of these things are a result of whiteness, patriarchy, and capitalism, and people ritually sacrifice their children at the altar of whiteness. Like she talks about this very often. Like it is a ritual sacrifice.
Yeah.
That people are doing. This is a cult. This is a cult. This is a death cult.
The cult of whiteness.
Yep.
Yes. It absolutely is. And when you mentioned the 6-week ban. Okay. The conversations about things like that are when I realize how little so many people understand about how any of this works. Like 5th grade fucking science, they don't understand. So in some cases, okay, I got pregnant with my second son on day 28 of my cycle. I know exactly when it was because my husband at the time worked off. So I know exactly when he came home. I was on day 28 of my cycle. So when I was quote unquote 6 weeks pregnant, I wasn't even pregnant yet. Because by the time you have sex and then there's a delay, it's like implantation does not occur instantly, unlike what some of these folks seem to think. Like I literally wasn't even pregnant yet at the 6-week mark. So it is effectively a total ban. And any place where safe abortion is not obtainable is not a safe place to get pregnant or be pregnant. You know, the treatment for an ectopic pregnancy is an abortion. The treatment for a septic pregnancy is an abortion. A septic uterus, I'm sorry. The treatment for a incomplete miscarriage is an abortion. And when you think about what is it like a quarter, I think, of pregnancies end in miscarriage, like you're talking a huge number of patients that you're putting their life at risk because you think you have the right to determine what medical procedures they should be allowed to have.
And the majority of them are going to be lower income people because they don't have access to good health care. They don't have access to good prenatal care. So they're going to miscarry more, and they're more likely to have things like PCOS and things like that will spontaneously abort.
Right. And I think that we go back to the whiteness topic here too, because in a lot of those, the people who are going to be disproportionately affected by those things you're talking about are going to be primarily people of color. And quite frankly, they don't give a fuck if we die.
They only care about white babies. They want
Right. And this is to force the number of white babies born to go up.
Yeah. Because if it was about like actual life, all of that, like, we all know like they would be more pro like adoption and pro foster care and taking care of these kids that we already have. But it's not about that. Like,
Well, they're only pro adoption when it comes to
white.
when it comes to the trafficking, and that is the domestic infant adoption.
Yes, domestic supply of infants.
I was so angry when I saw all the white feminists that wanted to be outraged by that. And I'm like, we have been screaming at you. Like, I have been aware of that for over 20 years. I know, I met a lot of like adult adoptees and parents of adoption loss that had been advocating about this for decades before that. Like, we've been screaming about this. You haven't been listening because it didn't affect you directly. And it doesn't seem to matter what the topic is. We keep coming back to that. Like, if y'all had been paying fucking attention and caring about anybody but your goddamn self, we would not be here right now.
Yeah, I think you were actually the person that like educated me on all of it, because most of my family is white. I come from that kind of place of privilege. They don't talk about those kinds of things because it doesn't affect them. So I didn't know anything about it, which is not an excuse, but I think a lot of people are just ignorant to it and don't care to learn. They don't seek it out.
Right. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to think it was because of a lack of access to information, right? Because when I was a kid, a long, long time ago,
back in my day,
right, like you had to take your pet dinosaur down to the library and go through the cards. But, you had to really, there was a lot more work that had to go into actively seeking these things out. Or in my case, I had to go to college because you couldn't find that here, right? But, now we're all walking around with all this information in our hand all the time. And we've still got people who, like, they have the information and they'll ignore it or they'll dismiss it. And so it's clearly not a lack of information.
It's a lack of caring.
Exactly. It's that empathy gap. If it doesn't affect them, why should they care?
Yeah.
So, when are we expecting the final SCOTUS decision to come out? Jumping in here with an editing note, of course, since our original recording, the Supreme Court has issued their decision overturning Roe versus Wade, leaving abortion rights up to each state, most of which have major restrictions or bans that endanger the life of pregnant people and seriously restrict our medical options. Being anti-abortion is misogyny. There's no way around it. It treats us as less than human to not be able to control our own health care. And we are going to see more people die. And that's unfortunate, but that is where we are in this country.
All in the days of white supremacy's work.
So I think what I've been saying is I think everybody, at least in states like Oklahoma, you need to anticipate the worst and make your decisions accordingly. Like I said, I do anticipate in some of these states there being, it's already happened in one. Was it Louisiana? They will start targeting birth control. There was one already introduced. Was that Louisiana? Where it was, targeting Louisiana. IUDs? Yeah. So, if you want to get one of those, I would suggest you do it now And I mean, you have to anticipate in some of these states, you know, there are some long-term things that last 3 years, 5 years, what have you. In 3 or 5 years, it may not be legal to get something. So I would seriously consider something, you know, something more permanent. Or, you know, there are a few states that at this point and do seem like they will continue to allow access.
As a matter of practical advice, I would tell people now is if you think you're pregnant, like literally only tell people that you would trust with your life.
I would.
Quite frankly, I wouldn't tell.
I wouldn't tell.
Quite frankly, I wouldn't tell the father.
Yeah, no, I absolutely would not tell the father. One thing I would recommend is beefing up your digital security. And that means not using Google to search for services. That means using DuckDuckGo instead. There's a really amazing resource called the Digital Defense Fund. They are geared specifically toward abortion funds, but they help you, they give you pointers on how to protect yourself digitally. They have a treasure trove of resources that help you do that. If you have a period tracker with a back-end interface, delete it now. There's only one that I know of that doesn't have a back-end user face, that doesn't collect data, and it's called Euki, E-U-K-I. That is the only app that I trust. And I've been doing this work for a long time, and this has been used by many of my friends and colleagues, and they do like it. And it's got a safety feature that'll wipe your data if you need to instantly.
Just remember that your phone can be collected as evidence or whatever device you have that on. So if you don't have those 2 seconds to wipe that data, you could be in trouble. So you might want to think about that as well in deciding if you want to use that or not.
What was it? There was one more thing I was thinking of. Like Summer said, even if you think you are, don't tell the father for sure. Connect with either the Roe Fund, because Roe Fund is doing, they've been doing work in helping people get the care they need, which I don't know what that looks like now that there's that aiding and abetting piece, you know. I mean, that's just the reality that we're in now. So one thing I will say is, you know, and again, my tutor was going off today and really dropped some gems, but she was like, the only way to beat this is to become ungovernable. Like, be so unruly. Like, the only just response to an unjust law is to fucking break it.
So how do we go about that?
Yeah. And so I would just say, you know, if you have friends that are attorneys or anything like that, like, ask them how they're going to help, because people are going to be prosecuted. DAs have a lot of they do have a lot of discretion in what they can charge for. And so a lot of this is going to fall, like, we have the DA's race coming I think it's the fall, right? Is that when the DA's race is? Is it in November too?
Not entirely sure.
I don't remember.
I would have to look.
I don't know, but it's coming up for a vote because there are two people that I know of. It's like Kevin Calvi and Gentner Drummond or something like that. Yeah, it's okay. Show your disgust, because I'm pretty disgusted myself.
It was a visceral reaction.
Let it all out. So I'm trying to think of what else I would tell people. You know, just know when to zip your lips.
Right. And have those conversations. She mentioned that you're talking to your attorney friends to see how they're going to help. Have those conversations now, because I am seeing attorneys who are outraged by this. I am also seeing attorneys who are like, well, you just shouldn't break the law. So have those conversations now so you know where they stand, because you don't want to be having to ask and finding out you trusted the wrong person when you're actually in a situation where you need help.
Gas cards are going to be particularly useful. Just throwing that out there. If you have the extra, I mean, gas prices are fucking ridiculous right now.
Oh my God.
So yeah, having gas cards, I think, would be a big help. I mean, obviously, don't go buy them in bulk. Don't be a weirdo and go buy them in bulk. But you know what I'm saying? Like, think of ways that you could create a care package for someone who's going to have to travel across state lines. Like, you know, a food packet, you know, a care packet, something like a heating that has a heating pad, you know, a zine that tells you what to expect before, during, and after an abortion. Like, you know, just things ways that you can show up for your friends and your neighbors in a way that's not, you know, I don't know what the word is. Like, helping your neighbors shouldn't be criminal, right? Like, and this is what all of this fucking does. It criminalizes people.
Right.
And it's the Wild West.
You know,
anybody can sue anybody.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, that's, you know, the way all of these oppressive regimes start, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we all knew the U.S. was going to crumble at some point. Kind of didn't want to be here to watch it in real time.
I hope,
here we are.
Like, at least after I died or something. Right now.
I would like to be put back into the primordial soup.
Right? Oh my God. Yeah, I was trying to look at this, but I can't. I was trying to look at how that aiding and abetting thing would function, but I can't seem to get the
And here's the thing, okay?
language where I can read it.
I sat through and I watched them debate this on the floor in both chambers. And when you ask them, how does this function? If I donate to the Roe Fund, am I considered aiding and abetting? One senator, Senator Dom, said, yes, you know, that may be possible. Senator Julie Daniels is like, no, I don't think so. So they can't even answer the questions to their own fucking bills. You should have seen Wendy Stearman get so irritated and upset because she had to answer questions related to her bill.
Are any of those, are either of those people attorneys?
I don't know if Julie Daniels is. I don't know if Wendy Stearman is. I highly doubt it. If she is,
I don't think so.
I would be shocked. And the thing is when they asked them, like, where did you get the language for the bill? They were like, well, we collaborated directly with the Texas Solicitor General on this bill to close any loopholes that we missed with SB 8.
Yeah, it came. I mean, it's almost a lot. The language was supposedly just like the Texas one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the bill language to come up, but I can't. But
I don't know. It's just a lot. It's
sometimes the legislature side doesn't work. Oh yeah, I can't even keep up at this point. I'm just like, what today? I had a dream last night. Well, this morning, because I woke up because of this dream this morning that I was pregnant, and I woke up almost having a panic attack because I'm like, it is not safe to be pregnant in this state. I mean, I've had a couple miscarriages, so I'm at risk for, you know, and I'm getting older, so I'm at risk for another miscarriage. And at this point, Oklahoma is criminalizing miscarriages. And so, like, I honestly, I wouldn't be able to plan to actually get pregnant. I don't understand. Honestly, I can't relate to people who are willing to do that. I think they're not as afraid of the government as I am, because I don't trust them to not throw my ass in jail just for miscarrying at this point.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any of the uploads, be sure to turn on those notifications so you will know as soon as those go up. Also, like us on social media at Hypoxia Podcast, or the easiest way is to go to our website, hypoxia.com. That's HOPOKSIA.com. And the links to all the socials and all the podcast feeds are right there. And we just want to thank you all for sharing your time with us, hanging out with us, and we hope to spend more time with you in the future.